Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Olivia here. If you were here for the last video, you know we opened a massive can of worms. We talked about hall passes, yellow buses, and the absolute fever dream that is American high school football. And the comments section, oh my gosh, you guys were on fire. My British friends were horrified. My American friends were traumatized. And I realized something. We have barely scratched the surface. I've been living in the UK for a while now, and the longer I stay, the more I realize that the American education system isn't just school, it's a distinct cultural programming experiment. It's a mix of a beauty pageant, a correctional facility, and a sales conference, all wrapped up in red, white, and blue. So today, we are doing part 2. I have dug deep into the recesses of my memory, I've consulted with my confused British neighbors, and I have found 10 more things that American schools taught me that make absolutely zero sense now that I live in the United Kingdom. We are going to talk about the money, the social hierarchy, and the weird legal reasons why I was forced to sell wrapping paper to strangers. Grab your tea or your Gatorade if you're feeling homesick, and let's get into it. Number 1, the show and tell confidence cult. Let's start with something psychological. One thing that absolutely baffles my British friends is how comfortable Americans are with talking about themselves. You know the stereotype. Americans are loud, we're confident, we can sell ice to a polar bear. Well, I figured out where it starts. It starts in kindergarten with a little ritual called show and tell. For my British viewers, let me explain. Once a week, a 5-year-old American child is expected to bring an object from home, a toy, a rock, a picture of their dog, stand at the front of the room, and deliver a persuasive speech to their peers. You have to explain what it is, why it's valuable, and field questions from the audience. At age 5, in the UK, the culture is very much about the tall poppy syndrome. You don't want to stand out too much. You don't want to be seen as bragging. If you stand up and say, "Look at my amazing toy," a British kid is socially conditioned to think, "Wind your neck in, mate." But in the US, we are training toddlers to be CEOs. We are training them to be salespeople. Show and tell isn't about the object, it's about the pitch. It teaches us that our personal experiences are content to be consumed by others. It teaches us that if you have something, you need to market it. I didn't realize how deeply this was ingrained until I went to a dinner party here in London. I was telling a story, doing my American thing, using my hands, projecting my voice, and I realized everyone was listening very politely, but also looking at me like I was performing a one-woman show. In America, that's just conversation. In the UK, it's a bit much, and this bleeds into adulthood. Think about the job interview process. American schools teach us that selling yourself is a survival skill. We are graded on participation in class. You can't just sit there and know the answer. You have to raise your hand and perform the answer. If you're quiet in an American classroom, the teacher calls your parents and says, "Olivia is withdrawn." In a British classroom, if you're quiet, the teacher thinks, "Thank God, she's behaving." It's a fundamental rewiring of the brain to prioritize external validation and vocal confidence over quiet competence, and honestly, it explains about 90% of American reality TV. Number 2, the yearbook industrial complex. Okay, we need to talk about the yearbook. I showed my high school yearbook to a British colleague, and his jaw hit the floor. He said, "Olivia, this is a wedding album." No, this is heavier than a wedding album. This is an encyclopedia. In the UK, you might get a leavers book or a newsletter. It's maybe paperback, maybe stapled. It's cute. In the US, the yearbook is a hardcover, full-color, glossy, 300-page historical archive that costs, and I am not kidding, between $80 and $100. And that's before you pay for the customization to have your name embossed in gold foil on the cover. But it's not just a book of photos, it is the definitive social registry of the town. It is a hierarchy in print. We have superlatives. This is where the school officially sanctions a popularity contest. Most likely to succeed. Best dressed. Class clown. Best eyes. Can we pause on best eyes? We are ranking teenagers on their physical features and publishing it in a book that will sit on shelves for 50 years. That is wild. And the pressure, oh my God, the pressure of signing yearbooks. At the end of the year, there is this chaotic ritual where you run around trying to get people to write in your book. And what they write matters. If your crush just writes AJX, that stands for "Have a Great Summer," it's devastating. That's the friend zone in acronym form. You wanted a paragraph about how much you meant to them, you got a generic acronym. But let's look at the economics. This is a massive industry. Companies like Jostens have a monopoly on American nostalgia. They come into the school, they sell us the class rings, which are hideous by the way, the graduation announcements, and these massive books. And parents can buy ad space in the back. I literally opened my yearbook to show my friend, and there are half-page ads where parents have paid hundreds of dollars to print a baby photo of their kid with a message like, "Congratulations, Braden, reach for the stars." It's the monetization of memory. It taught me that if you don't document it, and if you don't buy the premium package to preserve it, your experience didn't happen. It's basically Instagram before the internet, but it weighed £5 and cost as much as a week's groceries. Number 3, Spirit Week. Mandatory conformity. Moving on to one of the most confusing paradoxes of American schooling, Spirit Week. So as we discussed in part 1, most American public schools don't have uniforms. We wear street clothes. This is all about freedom and expression, right? Wrong. Because twice a year, usually leading up to homecoming or prom, the school loses its collective mind and initiates Spirit Week. This is 5 days of mandatory themed dress-up. Monday is Pajama Day, Tuesday is Twin Day, Wednesday is Crazy Hair Day, Thursday is Decades Day. Everyone dresses like the 80s. Friday is School Colours Day. If you were a British student looking at this, you'd think we'd joined a cult. And the irony is, if you don't participate, you are seen as a traitor to the cause. The teachers count how many students in their homeroom are wearing pajamas, and the winning class gets a pizza party. So you have peer pressure weaponized to force everyone to wear flannel pants and fuzzy slippers to biology class. I remember Twin Day causing actual diplomatic incidents. You have to find a partner to dress exactly like you. If you don't have a best friend, or if you have a group of 3, it is social suicide. It triggers this massive anxiety about where you fit in the social web. In the UK, the uniform is the great equalizer. You put on the blazer, you tie the tie, you go to school. You don't have to worry about whether your 80s workout gear is cool enough or if you have a twin. Spirit Week taught me that in America, individuality is praised, but collective enthusiasm is mandatory. You are free to be yourself as long as you are being yourself in the exact same way as everyone else on the scheduled day. It's enforced fun. It's corporate team building. But for hormonal teenagers, number 4, the fundraising pyramid scheme. This one makes my blood boil when I think about it now. British schools are funded by the government. Sure, budgets are tight. Maybe the PTA does a bake sale or a summer fete. In the US, I was a child soldier in a capitalist army. Every year, we would have an assembly. A slick guy in a suit would come in, not a teacher, an outside sales rep, and he would hype us up. He'd show us a video of cheap plastic prizes, a glow-in-the-dark yo-yo, a remote-controlled car, a giant inflatable chair, and he would tell us, if you want these prizes, you need to sell. They gave us catalogues. We sold wrapping paper. We sold cookie dough tubs that weighed 10 pounds. We sold chocolate bars. We sold magazine subscriptions. And who were we selling to? Strangers. I was 10 years old, walking door to door in my neighborhood, carrying a catalogue of overpriced gift wrap, knocking on strangers' doors asking for money. In 2024, that sounds like a safety nightmare. But in the 90s and 2000s, it was normal. Go forth, child, earn your school a new scoreboard. The school would take a cut, and the fundraising company would take a massive cut. It was essentially using child labor to plug holes in the education budget. And the pressure. If you didn't sell enough, you didn't get the prize. You'd sit there watching the top sellers get their limo ride to Pizza Hut. Yes, that was a real prize, while you sat in the cafeteria with your 0 sales. It taught me that everything in America is a business. Even your education depends on your ability to hustle. It normalized the idea that public services like schools shouldn't just be fully funded by taxes, they should be supported by the private sector and the free labor of children. My British friends ask, why didn't the school just ask the parents for £10? And I have to explain, no, we need the theatre of the sale, we need the catalogue, we need the transaction. Number 5, police in schools. The SRO. Okay, we need to get serious for a second, because this is a massive cultural shock. In the UK, if a police officer is in a school, something has gone very, very wrong. Or maybe they are there to give a nice talk about road safety. In the US, we have SROs, school resource officers. These are fully sworn, armed police officers who work inside the high school every single day. They have an office, they carry a gun, they have handcuffs. I didn't realize how dystopian this was until I described it to a Londoner. I said, "Yeah, I used to say hi to Officer Miller by the cafeteria, and they looked at me like I grew up in a war zone. But for us, it was normal. We had metal detectors at the entrance of some schools. We had drug dogs come through and sniff the lockers randomly. I remember sitting in French class and hearing the locker doors banging open in the hallway as the dogs went through. The intention, we are told, is safety, but the reality is the criminalization of teenage behavior. If two kids get into a fist fight in a UK playground, a teacher breaks it up. Maybe they get detention or suspension. In the US, because there is a cop right there, that fist fight can turn into an assault charge. You can get arrested, you can get a criminal record of 15 for doing something dumb that used to be handled by the principal. It taught me that authority is militarized. It taught me that schools aren't just places of learning, they are places of surveillance. And honestly, it contributes to this feeling that American students are viewed as potential threats first and learners second. When I walk past a UK school and I see open gates or just a receptionist buzzing people in, I still feel a twinge of panic. Like, where is the perimeter security? But then I remember schools shouldn't need perimeter security. Number 6, homecoming. The medieval court. We talked about prom in the last video, but we need to talk about its weird cousin, homecoming. There is no equivalent to this in the UK. None. Homecoming is usually in the autumn. It is technically centered around a football game where the alumni, people who graduated years ago, come home to visit. But the weird part is the court. We literally elect a monarchy. We vote for a homecoming king and a homecoming queen. Princes and princesses for the younger grades. We put them in convertibles, actual cars, and drive them around the football field at halftime. They wear sashes, they wear crowns, plastic rhinestoned crowns. The principal crowns them in front of the whole town. Why are we obsessed with royalty? Americans fought a whole war to get rid of the king, and yet every high school in Kansas is electing a teenage aristocracy every October, and the alumni culture is bizarre to Brits. The idea that a 35-year-old accountant would take a Friday off work to go back to his old high school, wear his old varsity jacket, which definitely doesn't fit anymore, and watch 17-year-olds play football. In the UK, when you leave school, you leave, you don't look back. It's done. In America, high school is the peak of community identity. In many small towns, the high school football team is the only show in town. The stadium holds more people than the local churches combined. Homecoming taught me that your identity is forever tied to where you went to school, and that popularity is a democratic process. It's basically training for political office, but with more hairspray. Number 7, the dress code. Shoulders are scandalous. Let's talk about clothes again, but specifically the dress code. Since we don't have uniforms, schools have to create complex legal codes about what you can and cannot wear. And let's be honest, 90% of these rules are policed on the girls. I remember the fingertip rule. You had to stand up straight and put your arms by your sides. If your shorts or skirt were higher than your fingertips, you were in violation. You would get sent to the nurse, who, remember, is just a receptionist with ice, to put on a shameful pair of oversized sweatpants from the lost and found. And the shoulders, oh, the shoulders. Spaghetti straps were the enemy. Tank tops were banned. We were told they were distractions. Distractions to whom? The boys. This taught me a very messed up lesson very early on, that my body is inherently sexual and distracting, and it is my responsibility to cover it up so that the boys can focus on algebra. In the UK, with uniforms, this conversation is different. Sure, girls might roll their skirts up, and teachers might tell them to roll them down, but it's about looking smart or representing the school badge. It's not usually framed as you are tempting the male students with your collarbone. I've seen American schools measure straps with rulers, 3 fingers width required. It's puritanical. It turns teachers into the fashion police. And it creates this adversarial relationship where students are constantly trying to see what they can get away with, and administration is constantly trying to suppress shoulder blades. Number 8, the standardized testing teen economy. In the UK, you have GCSEs and A-levels. These are government exams. They are standardized. In the US, we have the SAT and the ACT. But here is the kicker that my British friends don't get. These are products owned by private non-profit, but actually very profitable corporations. The College Board, which owns the SAT, is a juggernaut. You have to pay to take the test. If you want to send your scores to colleges, you pay again. If you want to take AP Advanced Placement exams to get college credit, you pay for those too. And because it's a high-stakes game that determines if you get into university, an entire industry has sprung up around it. Test prep. I spent my Saturdays in high school sitting in a windowless room taking practice S8s. My parents paid hundreds of dollars for a Kaplan course where they taught us tricks. Not math tricks, test-taking tricks. If you don't know the answer, choose C, read the questions before the passage. It taught me that intelligence is secondary to strategy, and more importantly, it taught me that the system is rigged in favor of money. If you can afford the $1,000 prep course and the private tutor, your score goes up 200 points. If you can't, good luck. In the UK, while the private school system obviously has advantages, the actual A-level exams are the same. You can't really buy a better paper. The American system is pay-to-play, disguised as meritocracy. Number 9, teacher formality, Mr. versus Sir. This is a linguistic one, but it speaks volumes about the relationship between adults and kids. In the UK, I hear kids calling teachers Sir or Miss, just that. Excuse me, Miss? Sir, can I have a pen? It sounds so military or Victorian. It strips the teacher of their name. They are just a role. In the US, we would never do that. It is always Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Smith, Miss Davis. You use their last name. Always. Calling a teacher just teacher or sir would feel rude, like you didn't bother to learn who they were. But here is the flip side. We never, ever use the title head teacher. In the UK, the boss is the head teacher or the headmaster, headmistress. It sounds very academic. In the US, it's the principal. Principal implies principal teacher, but over time it has morphed into this CEO manager role. And below them, you have vice principals. It's a corporate structure. But the Mr. Johnson thing creates a specific dynamic. It's respectful, but it's personal. I felt like I knew my teachers as people. We knew about their lives, sometimes too much. The Sir Miss thing in the UK feels like it creates a professional distance. It says, I am the authority, you are the subject. The American way says, I am Mr. Johnson and I am currently stressed out by you. Number 10, pep rallies, the scream chamber. And finally, we have to talk about the pep rally. If you want to see a British person have a panic attack, take them to an American pep rally. Picture this, it is 2 p.m. on a Friday. The entire school, 2,000 students, is marched into the gymnasium. We are packed into the bleachers by class. Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. The band is playing as loud as humanly possible. Drums, trumpets, tubas, indoors. The cheerleaders are doing backflips. The mascot, a guy in a sweaty tiger suit, is running around throwing t-shirts into the crowd. And the goal is to scream. We have scream-offs. The vice principal gets on a microphone and yells, I can't hear you, seniors, and the seniors have to scream until their veins pop out. Then the juniors try to be louder. It is absolute sensory overload. It is mass hysteria. And what is it for? To hype up the football team for the game that night. We are literally losing educational instructional time. We are skipping math and history to sit in a gym and scream at teenage boys to run fast. It taught me that enthusiasm is a currency. In America, you have to show you care. You have to be loud. If you sit there with your arms crossed, you are killing the vibe. In the UK, assemblies are for announcements. You walk in quietly, you sit in rows, you listen to the head teacher tell you not to litter, and you leave. It's dignified. It's boring. The pep rally is the perfect metaphor for America. It's loud, it's competitive, it's expensive, it's slightly dangerous for your hearing, and it convinces you that you are part of the greatest team on earth, even if your team has a losing record. So there you have it, 10 more ways the American school system prepared me for a reality that is totally unique to the 50 states. Living in the UK has been a detox. I've learnt that it's okay to be quiet. I've learnt that I don't need a hall pass to go to the bathroom. And I've learnt that I don't need to sell wrapping paper to feel like a valuable member of society. But I have to admit, sometimes on a quiet Friday afternoon in London, I kind of miss the marching band. Just a little bit. I want to know from you guys, British viewers, which one of these sounds the most illegal to you? And Americans, be honest, how much money did your parents spend on your senior yearbook ads? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe so I can afford to buy a tea that isn't from a vending machine. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.